Well, today's lesson is about linking sounds, sounds that come together. And there's a few different things we're going to talk about. We'll just start with the basics, the easy ones. So sometimes we have the same sound twice in two words, right? Maybe we have two words that we say together, but we say one and then the next, and the first word ends with the sound and the next word begins with the same sound, right? Like, for example, the word red and the word dress. She was wearing a red dress. So if we speak very slowly and clearly and we say every sound, then we might say red dress. But usually we don't say this, right? Usually it's faster and these sounds come together. It's red dress. She was wearing a red dress. She was wearing a red dress. Red dress. So the first sound is almost disappears, right? This is because red ends with the sound d, and dress begins with the sound d, and it's not convenient to say the sound two times when you're speaking quickly. Another example, the word big and the word gorilla. I went to the zoo. I saw a big gorilla. I saw a big gorilla, right? There's only one g sound. We don't say big gorilla. So this is the easiest rule about linking, that when the sound is the same, when the sound at the end of the first word and the beginning of the second word are the same, then usually we only say it once. Another example, a hot tomato. Hot and tomato, hot tomato. How about the word feel and lucky? Do you feel lucky? Do you feel lucky? Feel lucky. Or I live in a quiet town. Quiet town. Quiet town. Only one t sound, right? She was wearing a pink scarf and driving a pink car. Pink and car, pink car, right? Just one k sound. Or scarf, nice scarf. That's a nice scarf. Nice, one sound like S, right? So this is really one of the basic sounds, one of the basic rules. There's also some examples where there are some sounds that are similar and maybe we don't say the first sound, like the combination of words need to with need to. I need to go. But d and t are similar sounds, and usually it sounds like I need to go. I need to go. I need to go. I need to go. Right? Not I need to go. So we don't usually say both of these sounds. Or I didn't sleep well last night. I hope tomorrow I sleep better. Sleep better. So instead of sleep better, we don't say p. Or what color is this? It's dark gray with the sounds k and g. Or sounds like z and s. A cheese sandwich. A cheese sandwich. A cheese sandwich. So we don't really say z here, right? We just say cheese sandwich. Great. So these are some examples. Another example is when we have articles like an elephant. So we can hear that there's some linking happening here. It sounds like an elephant, right? If we have to separate the syllables, it sounds like nel, fent. Something like this, right? An elephant. I saw an elephant. I can tell you a funny story about pronunciation. About my wife is from Russia, but she lives in the United States with me, and so she was speaking with someone at a hotel, and in a hotel they have something called amenities. And amenities are extra services to make you feel comfortable, extra, some bonuses, right? Some things that make your time at this hotel better. You can see that it's a countable noun, or it looks like a countable noun. Amenities, but usually we only use it in plural. We only say amenities. We don't say one amenity. We just talk about these extra things, amenities. So the mistake of pronunciation was trying to use this as a singular noun, amenity, and with some, maybe pronunciation mistake, maybe, then the person who she was speaking to thought that she said manatee. A manatee. A manatee is an animal that lives in the water. It's a very big. They also call it a sea cow. A sea cow, a manatee, and they live in Florida. So because of this mistake of pronunciation, the person thought, she said, would you like she wanted to say, would you like any amenities, or would you like amenities? Instead, it sounded like, would you like a manatee? Would you like this animal in your hotel room? And the person said, what are you asking me about? So so sometimes the combinations of sounds, they can make it sound very different, right? They can make it sound different from the original word sometimes. Just like when we had an elephant, some people might hear this like nelephant. What is nelephant, right? It sounds like it's separated here, but it's not. Okay, another example is an apple. Eat an apple. Eat an apple. An apple. Right. So these words blend together. In fact, that's why we have a and an, is because of linking. And helps us link to a word that starts with a vowel sound, because it's not convenient to say two vowel sounds together, and then the next sound, right? So we have an, and then the next vowel sound instead. So great. Let's talk about some linking examples that are a little more difficult. So we talked about when we have two consonant sounds blending together, then sometimes we drop the first one. But also sometimes, for example, the phrase bad luck. So here, nothing strange happens, but there's this, we separate the syllables like this, right? So it becomes ba, dluck, dluck. We don't have this sound in most places. And here we can see this, bad luck, bad luck. So the sound D kind of changes here. So there are these kinds of blending sounds too that we can think about. Or the same with when we have D plus N, we might say like bad news, bad news, bad news. We don't say bad news usually, bad news. So it's a very soft sound of D. Okay, one of the things that a lot of people get confused about is why do we say, for example, we have the words don't and you, don't and you, and I have a car, don't you? Don't you? But why am I saying chew? I'm saying chew. There's no CH here. Don't you, but I say don't chew. Because there's this rule of linking that when we have T plus Y, we have T plus Y. This gives us this special sound of ch, ch. Yeah. This is T plus Y. Don't you? Haven't you seen this film? Haven't you? Haven't you? Haven't you? But when we're speaking fast, naturally, haven't you? Because T plus Y gives us ch. We also have D plus Y, and this gives us zh. Did you? Did you? Did you? So here the D plus Y gives us zh. Did you? Oh, sorry. There's two sounds here. J, j, d, j. Did you? Had you? Word had plus you, had you. So there's a lot of there's these combinations that sometimes can sound strange, and native speakers, they don't really think about the fact that the sound is changing. They just say it and it changes, and they don't think about these rules. So it can be difficult for someone to remember what they like. If you hear someone say something and you're not clear about it, then it would be difficult for them to remember what they said because they don't think about it in this way, right? So this is probably one of the more extreme examples, right? Where we bring two sounds together and they make something new. Usually something just goes away, or right? Usually this happens with the sounds. There's one other interesting example too, when we add a sound that isn't there. So for example, when we have two vowel sounds, we usually add another sound between them. For example, let's look at the phrase, he asked. He asked. So between these two vowel sounds, we can add y. He asked. He asked. And so typically, native speakers don't stop between these two words. They connect them like this. They don't say he asked. They say he asked. He asked. Why did you tell him? Oh, because he asked. Another example might be with do it. Here we add the W sound. Do wit. Do wit. So there's some rules here. I mean, first of all, we have the oo sound and the short I sound. And so between these two sounds, we add oo, W. And over here, we have the E sound and then A sound, and we add Y. So we can think of it like we have a long sound, and then it connects to a short vowel sound. Long vowel and short vowel. Great. Now, usually when we have the same sound, going back to the very beginning of what we talked about today, usually we have the same sound 2 times and we don't pronounce one of these sounds, right? Like red dress, red dress. However, there's one situation when we do pronounce it 2 times. For example, when we say orange juice, orange juice, orange juice. So we have to say orange juice. We say it twice. This is because so there's only 2 sounds. There's only 2 sounds that can do this. J and ch. The same 2 sounds that we talked about earlier, right? That when we have t, y, it becomes ch. And when we have d, y, it becomes j. Right? These 2 sounds, j and ch, they can repeat. I'm trying to think of a ch. For example, bench and chair. Bench chair. But that doesn't make any sense. I'm just making up that word now for an example. So next. So, okay, sometimes we also might change double letters in a different way. Like we have the example of pet turtle. Pet turtle. So you can't say, it's not that we don't say this, it's just the first T has a different sound, right? Pet, 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 pet turtle. So this is another example. Or for example, social life, social life. Right? We do say the first L, social life, social life. But the first L has kind of a different sound, right? Okay, so these are lots of different rules about linking. And let's link that to our conversation. So in your language, probably you also have these kinds of linking sounds, and you've probably just never thought about it before. And probably many of those sounds are the same, using the same rules as English, where two of the same sound come together and change, or you don't say one of them, or something else. Also, when we have, the example like an elephant, where it's two different words, but then it sounds like they're connected in a different way, right? I had to learn that when I found it interesting that when I went to Russia, that this was true in Russian, when I needed to learn this phrase that means with you, and it's two different words. It's sa taboy, like an elephant. It's two words, but when you say it fast, it sounds like sta boy, like an elephant. And so these words are connected, and if we don't think about linking, then it sounds strange. We might ask a question like, what is a elephant? What is a elephant? Don't know what that word is, right? So, because we have to think about linking. So when we first learn basic pronunciation in English, we usually don't learn about linking. We learn about just the sounds of the letters. And then when we learn words and sentences, we usually take a breath between these words, and we don't try to connect them. So if you can find how in your language words link too, it will be really cool. You'll understand that it's everywhere, and you can always try to pay attention to it. Like I just said, pay attention. Pay attention. Because we have the two vowel sounds connecting. Great. So when we're talking to people, sometimes because of linking, it can make us understand something different, or we can hear something different. Has this situation ever happened to you?